We're just going to watch now the glacier as it's kind of melting, it's retreating back into the mountain range behind us, and the rate at which it's just disappearing before our eyes. It really is quite something, Steve.
Yeah, this place has an ethereal quality about it. It is absolutely gorgeous, but it's somewhere where you have to be very cautious because this is the place where the glacier is essentially dying. If you look closely, you can see there's a chunk over there. There's a fresh, huge chunk of ice that's come out here and formed an iceberg. And we have seen calving events. They've been filmed on some of the glaciers around here. Some of them are very, very active and receding at a great speed. Certainly this particular glacier is almost unrecognizable from the first time I came out here. And Alaskan people, they absolutely can see their glaciers disappearing before their eyes. But not so long ago, I was right up there, just on top, standing above a big blue hole and about to head inside. So I'm standing on the brink of the abyss right now, and down there is where this whole thing gets kick-started. Okay, here we go. These moulins are a lattice work of tunnels, almost like Swiss cheese through the glacier. Very, very few of them have ever been explored. And the second you drop down below the surface, you're in a whole alien environment. This chill wind blows in with the waterfall, but it is quite mesmerically beautiful. Look at that! Wow! To begin with, your crampons sink into the ice really easily because it's quite full of air. But when you get down here, it's so compressed. It's just as hard as what feels like steel. Whoa! I'm trying to think of something to compare it to, but I really don't think there is any other blue like this in nature. And it sounds obvious, but it's really, really cold down here. Like many degrees colder than above, because you've got this air that's being carried down by the waterfall, which itself is not much above freezing. But the water is cutting its way on through the glacier in several different directions. It looks like it heads on down that way. I can hear the water going that way, thundering off into the distance. And that's probably the way that it heads on. It's absolutely glorious, utterly ethereal in colour. And it's so compressed, the ice down here. I guess it's very much like a cave system in that once water has started to form a bit of a channel, it then cuts right on down to the bedrock until it gets to a place where it can go no further. And that is where the action really happens. But also, there's a tunnel up that way as well. In fact, that looks like a better way for me to go. So, next, I think it's time to do a bit of exploring. This is awesome. I love the way that the water's sculpted the walls of this cave. There are these kind of scallop markings running down the length of it. And the thing that reminds you of quite what is so special about this place is the ice itself. Although, you know, it's very, very blue. When you look at one particular chunk of ice, it's see-through, it's like glass. And the reason for that is that this fell as snow on the ice fields above us 250, maybe 300 years ago. And over that time, it's been squeezed down into this solid chunk of ice. Sometimes, if you take particularly ancient ice and you put a lump of it into your drink, it starts to fizz with the gas, the air that's been held inside it for hundreds of years. Right, let's push on and see what we've got beyond you. I'm gonna have to squeeze past you, sorry. So, this tunnel goes on for quite a way. Some of these will go for hundreds and hundreds of meters all the way down through the glacier. And there'll be lots and lots of ponds like this one. And this is what's really important for the feast here in Alaska. This glacial silt, it's incredibly fine. It's kind of almost like toothpaste underneath your fingers. And this is come from the bedrock, and it's full of silt, which is full of phosphorus and iron and other minerals. And eventually this will be swept out to sea along with all the pure water from the glacier, 50,000 billion gallons of it. And that will dry down into the deep sea, bring up nutrients, which makes the plankton bloom, which then feeds the fish and the salmon, and then eventually the bears and everything else here in this Alaskan feast. Obviously, this whole thing is changing as climate change breaks away these glaciers, and it is frightening to think of what could happen in the future if these glaciers disappeared. Certainly they're receding at a frightening rate. But for now, it is really, look at that up there! There's like a skylight up above us, just bringing down light into this cave. And honestly, it is a real honor to be in here and see what has to be one of the most special places on the whole planet. I reckon there's still a little bit more clambering to go up in that direction. Ah, this is still so cool. Ah.